Hello, on the Alnwick and Cornhill Railway here, a little bit further along than the borderline Greenway, probably about half a mile thereabouts. So a little bit beyond the B6341 that goes between Alnwick and Rothbury, and I've walked as far as possible along to the second stone bridge over the line. Beyond here, the track bed's extremely swampy and very difficult to cross. And actually all the way along from the B6341 it's quite challenging. To get along to here, this is the second stone bridge along, you have to walk along the embankment top. It's simply too wet and overgrown in the cutting to make it the way along. But if you walk along the embankment top, as you can see, it's quite a good clear way most of the way. A few gorse bushes and that here and there. We'll start taking a walk back just to show you. So the long-term aim of the Borderline Greenway group is to take this route, take the route from Alnwick at Greensfield, next to the care home and the Steddons housing estate, long round past Rugley where it's already been upgraded into a 2 metre wide level surface path for all users, and then eventually come under the B6341 that takes the main road between Alnwick and Rothbury, which this route passes beneath. Then coming along here all the way around to Eglingham, eventually up to Wooler and up to Cornhill and Coldstream, where the line joined other routes, and would ultimately form a massive circular route. Sorry, just get a pheasant. A massive circular route around Northumberland, which would use the coastal routes for its leg back from Berwick towards Alnwick. But as you can see, it's already pretty good in most places. Gets a little bit tricky around this gorse up here, but you can get around it. But the Greenway opened just a couple of days ago. As you can see, gorse is a bit of a difficult plant. You can, with a bit of difficulty, negotiate your way around it, and then you're back on to some half decent ground again. So this was done to mirror what Al Murray and James Holland have on their We Have Ways of Making You Talk podcast. Excellent one, by the way, chaps. Of walking the ground, actually getting your feet under the ground, setting foot on the ground, of what's proposed, having a look at it, see what the challenges are or what the opportunities are. And you see there's not that much difficulty. I mean, I'm not the slimmest of chaps, and I'm managing to get along here. But, as you can probably hear from my breath, I'm not the fittest either. But it makes sense to walk it, have a look, and see what the challenges are. So we're just about to the next bridge, which is probably the next most difficult step. I'll have to end the video, but I'll quickly show you what you need to do to get around it. So you can see there's a little fence beneath the bridge, but there is a gate in there that's not locked. But as you can see, the track bed's nearly impassable, but along the embankment top, just clearing through that little patch of gorse there would get you most of the way along here, and you could either go around the bridge on the level, which is probably preferable than going underneath, and you could just pick up the path on the opposite side there. But today the plan is to descend this little hill. I just keep the video on actually. You see, it's not the world's easiest of paths, but we'll get down. With a bit of care we can get down. There we go. Open the world's most rickety gate. As you can see, the line's quite well flooded. Almost a river run through here. And then we just cut up the embankment on the other side. And there we are. We're through. And we'll go around here and just squeeze past the hawthorn, which is just a little bit of a pain. You wear a nice thick coat, and then we're back onto the top of the embankment here. It amazes you that they built this line, the North Eastern Railway, but it dates back to the mania, the Victorian era, with different competing railway routes. So the North British had an intention of building the Northumberland Central Railway, which would have gone from Rothbury northwards up to Whittingham, then the Scottish borders, which got partially built, from Scots Cap to Rothbury. But this line was very much built, the Alnwick and Cornhill, this railway was built to block that. So this curves out of Alnwick, what's now Barter Books, curved out of Alnwick, went round Greensfield, then came up over the top of Alnwick Moor to avoid the Duke's Southern Park. Came up here, still climbing up towards the summit here, about several hundred feet above sea level, and drops into the valley on the other side, the valley of the Aln, and then curves round towards Whittingham, and then up north through Wooler up towards Coldstream. Never ever a commercial success. Opened in 1887. This section closed in 1953 because in 1948 there were a couple of washouts, split the line ultimately between Alnwick and Ilderton, and then Wooler to Coldstream. The section between Ilderton and Wooler was just completely closed with the flooding. Because they repaired the northern section so that they regain access to Wooler. Wooler stretch closed in 1965, but this one, way before Beeching, that infamous one, closed in the 50s, when a lot of uneconomic lines such as this were starting to be closed because they were never ever made commercially viable. A lot of it was politics, railway politics, and competition, keeping other companies off your turf, which is what the North British always sought to do with the North Eastern Railway. But it's left a legacy of some quite well built railways, good well built structures. I mean, you can see the bridges there, they've had no purpose since 1953, but they're still standing strong, no major problems, which hopefully we could repurpose now in active travel corridors such as the Greenway, getting people out walking like myself, cycling or horse riding, and making benefit of infrastructure that hundreds of pounds were spent on back in the day, but has never really found another use. You can see here how overgrown this is, but if you can hear the bird song over the road traffic, very important habitat for wildlife. So in some ways it'll be a shame to carve out all of the habitat in the bottom of the cutting, and maybe just make more use of the embankment top to get by. So this is another little stretch where it's a bit rough, as you see, not too impossible already. We'll just keep walking along back towards the B6341. But what a beautiful day to come along here and have a little bit ramble along an old railway line. And we'll just drop down here, across this old gate, and we're nearly back, as you can probably hear, to the main road. It's a very busy route. But this is the whole intention of keeping people away from some of the roads here. Very fast, very busy road. Not particularly safe to cycle or walk along, especially further along where there's no footpath. So little old routes like this, disused railways, are ideal contenders. You can probably hear the ground's a bit swampy under my feet though, along this bit. Yep, definitely a bit swampy here. I'm glad I'm wearing a decent pair of boots. But as you can see, the ground's very soft. And that's after several good days weather-wise. Lots of pheasants along here. And then we're back. So it's only about a 15-minute walk, taking it gently. Just trying to undo this chain on the gate. And then we're back under the main road. Which has this rather spectacular skewed brickwork arch. See if I can show you a bit better through here. So you'll agree that the brickwork on here, it's probably easier to see when you're actually here, is absolutely spectacular. There's a bridge identifying number. You see, it's skewed. Absolutely stunning piece of architecture. Unfortunately, step out from the echo. Unfortunately, this bridge was actually at threat of being infilled by National Highways until it was pointed out by the HRE group, excellent work chaps, that this bridge was earmarked for being infilled, probably with a concrete infield similar to the Great Musgrave. But with the work of the HRE and now the groups like the Borderline Greenway, they saved that bridge just behind us, and the one at Rugley Road from being infilled, which is great work to everybody concerned. Now walk along here, see a bit more used by the farmers in the area. So I see I've just passed under the B6341. And that's the end of the video.